Are athletes really more unfaithful than the average person?
The way they framed that, I swear to God, I thought Tiger Woods was some mass murderer when I was a kid.
Bring back shame.
Bring back
Are you
shame.
not ashamed that added pressure now of people either expecting you to be the next big thing or having something negative to say regardless?
Sports betting world, it can go from 0 to 100 real quick. A missed free throw, a bad play.
When did competition stop being about the game and start being about money?
Welcome back to Curls of the Game, where your favorite curly girls in sports go beyond the highlights and dive deep into the stories that matter. So first things first, Jaya, how are you?
I'm good. I missed you. How is your year so far? Did you reach your goals?
Feeling
We're about a quarter in.
a quarter, yeah, quarter one. Honestly, yes, I made my little vision board at the start of the year, and a lot of my things are checking off already, so it's been good. But like you said, it's just been really fast. I'm like, damn, can we just slow down a minute?
It is really crazy. I feel like the spring too is just like a weird time of year. It's like a time of year for transitions. I feel like that's what it's been. A lot of random things have been plaguing my mind, but I do want to hear, like, I think you should go first.
Something that is always on my mind is the fact that we've never actually seen ourselves from another person's perspective. Like, if you think about it, if I came out of my body and I'm like walking down the street and looked at me, like, we've never had that experience. It's all from our reflections, photos, videos, like FaceTime.
Like
But
you're the only person that doesn't know what you truly look like.
exactly, we have
I think about that
never,
all the time too.
yeah, the way we see ourselves is not what everyone else is seeing, essentially. I'm like, I could have this view of myself, but everyone else could have something that's completely different. But then I went on a whole rabbit hole because it's already been a discourse of the fact that we were never meant to see our own faces, that whole theory. Because in most of history, like the reflection that we saw of ourselves was in water through history, which even that is going to be warped. It's blurry, it's a little distorted, right? But
Well,
humans
wait. When did mirrors come
become a
about?
thing.
Because there were always reflections. Wait,
Reflection.
like if you saw yourself on glass,
Exactly.
well, did they have glass walls and doors?
I don't know about glass walls, maybe like glass doors. But yeah, I don't know when. Maybe we should.
Wait, I'm very
When
curious.
did mirrors become? Let's see. When were
Like,
mirrors?
because that's a great question. Like back in olden times, what did
There.
they do?
So allegedly, there were ancient mirrors back in 6,000, 4,000 BCE. The earliest mirrors were made from polished obsidian, which is volcanic glass, and
Okay.
found in modern day places like Turkey.
Hmm.
So then it's been around.
That's terrible though. Like you can't really see with
That's
them.
what yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then what it probably was too is that's why they would hire painters and stuff to paint. Like back when you couldn't take photos, they had to just literally sit still for hours on end until the
Right.
painter was finished painting them.
Imagine.
But that even isn't a real depiction. Like all the
Exactly.
historical paintings is one person's perception of what you
Perception.
look like. And you're moving a little bit throughout. They're kind of like adjusting to what they think you look like. So even your painting isn't
It's
inaccurate.
not accurate.
Like, have
Yeah.
you ever got your caricature drawn at the
I
fair?
actually never done that.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Because I got my caricature, what is it called?
Caricature. But I feel like
Caricature.
with those they purposely
They do.
accentuate. Like
They do purposely accentuate your features because it's a caricature, it's not a real thing.
yeah.
But the way I did it one time, the way that my nose was depicted had me genuinely like recontemplating my whole life. I had facial dysmorphia for like 6 months. He gave me the biggest, most like crooked
Yeah.
witch nose, and it was the biggest part. I'm like, do I need to get a nose job right now? Also, that's another thing. Because we can't see what we look like, I think everyone has a bit of dysmorphia
No, for sure. I mean, to that
in a
point of your
healthy
whole
way.
caricature,
But
caricature story, I feel like that excess of perception and self-perception obviously goes into the whole current day discourse of self-image and our struggles with our appearances and social media. Social media being we see other people's faces and
yeah.
bodies every single second, essentially. So now that we can stare at other people and ourselves through selfies or Zooms, like that takes a toll on everyone. When if you think about it, what if we never had, the evolution of the mirror and we never saw a camera, we never saw the selfies weren't a thing? How do you think society would be?
Mm. We have like way too much access to information now that we can like deep dive on it all. I think back then, like they probably thought about it, but there wasn't enough info for them to really like get into it. Like now we know about the solar system. We know how deep this goes. It's too much.
Yeah,
It's way too
be
much.
going
I
on
think
deep
if
with
we
that.
didn't have any of this, they were probably at more peace back then.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
they were just happy to be there type of thing.
Yeah. I feel like they were probably just vibing. And like the lifespan was 30 years, 40 if you're lucky. Like
Oh,
we would have already been halfway out of here. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like life wasn't even
They
supposed to
probably
be this
were
long.
they probably were turning up a lot more then. Because if I'm like, damn, I only
Yeah.
got 25 more years left, I probably would have done.
That's what I'm
And
saying. They
mind
were
you, I've
here for
done
a good time,
dog.
not a long time. Like we would be elders. Oh God. Let me not go down the 25 and up.
Exactly, midlife
The
crisis.
trauma of turning 25 is a topic for another day. I also my thing that I think about is just how we have free will. Like have you been seeing on
Yeah,
TikTok
literally,
everyone's like we really do have free will, but like no one uses it.
is acting upon it. Honestly, I'm
I
guilty of that. Like to what we just said, we're only 25. We are young at the end of the day, and sometimes I be like, I need to do more stuff because I have the free will to. Like, why am I just chilling? Like, let me go live life a little more, you
I
know?
agree. Like you truly can do whatever the hell you want at any time. If I wanted to, I mean, obviously you have to make it make sense for you. But if I wanted to drop out of school right now, move to China and become a monk and cut myself off from the world, I could go do that. No one's telling me to not.
Do not.
That's crazy.
It's your life.
I do want to use my free will to do more things, like just more like side quests. I feel like
Exactly.
I'm challenged. Like the TikTok trend has inspired me. Like, let me go do something crazy. But we're not here to talk about all of this today
All this rah rah.
because we could really do a whole segment on just that. But another thing that's really been coming up in the sports world, well, I think this is a horse that's been beaten to death in the sense of it's a tale as old as time. We hear these type of scandals and dramas every other week, every other month, just with relationships outside of the sport they play, and athletes specifically always being called out in the media or found out for not being faithful to their partners. So the thing that actually got me thinking about this is a situation that happened at my university the last month or two. Hannah Cavender was in the media. She's a basketball player, a women's basketball player here. Was in the media for her relationship with quarterback Carson Beck for a cheating scandal. It blew up a little bit and it got me thinking about the fact that are athletes really more unfaithful than the average person, or do we just hear about it more because they are more popular names and people that we know?
I personally think that they are more just popular names. They're more in the media, they're more in the limelight. Not all athletes cheat, but the ones that do, I feel like they shape the perception of, okay, now the narrative, although it could be a small percentage of athletes that do cheat, it becomes the majority because of who they are. We hear about it more because of their status and just the nature of, we know how news outlets are. They love to magnify every single action. And it doesn't help, though, that we paint these athletes to be, untouchable or flawless or just outright role models. Because when you do that, when you put someone on a pedestal, I think that when those instances happen, it makes it appear that much worse in history, like Tiger Woods. First of all,
Hmm.
they blew
Ooh,
that up.
child.
Why? Up
That
until I
scandal back
became,
then, one thing about it, cheating used to be like a way bigger deal. It used to be real controversy back in the day.
and that's the
Now,
thing, the way they framed that, I swear to God, I thought Tiger Woods was some mass murderer when I was a kid because I was like, oh my God, what did he do? Up until
me
had
too.
the
Oh
own
my
conscious,
God.
I was like, wait, and not to downplay cheating, but I'm just like, oh, he cheated on his wife and he,
No, but
did
I
all
was like, oh my God, I can't
right.
believe he did that. This
Right.
man needs to go to
Go to
jail. This
jail.
man needs to lose his whole career because why? How could you cheat on your wife? Like, but honestly, like, bring back shame.
Bring back
Are you not
shame.
ashamed of your behavior? You should be. You should be. And we should bring back shame. We should.
That's the thing. That's probably
It's so
why.
normalized now.
Right. We let it slide now. And so when people, that's why,
No
okay,
one
so
cares.
no one cares. No one cares. But we really should, let's bring that back. Like,
I mean, okay,
um,
look, should you lose your entire career in whatever because
no.
you cheated
I
on
think,
someone?
and to your point, like that was really a big part of his whole downfall, all because of that scandal.
Especially for going back to the athlete thing. The groupie culture alone, even if you are trying to just lock in with someone, you're actively fighting a lot of temptation because a lot of times you don't really even have to try. Everyone is coming to you. Everyone is,
Just
desperate or
flinging
eager
themselves.
to
Yeah.
be around you, to throw themselves at you. So not only do you have to be faithful, you have to actively choose to keep rejecting men or
It's a
women,
conscious
whichever
it's a
way.
conscious choice. Being put in that environment, having all those fighting demons for real, like it's a conscious choice that you have to have a conversation with yourself and be like, all right, I know I'm of status. I know I have all of the access in the world essentially. I can get whoever I want. But if I'm really trying to lock in, like it takes the action and the mental fortitude to be like, I'm not about to give in.
I
And
think
it's really
so.
that deep. Like it sounds crazy, but it really does take a lot, especially with, like you said, everything being thrown at them. They could fold in an instance.
Back to the Tiger Woods thing. I do think that was harsh. Okay, what he's known, this whole idea that an athlete is supposed to be an all-around role model in every aspect of their life isn't realistic. They're good at their sport and everything else is a bonus, but they aren't expected to be a Samaritan. They didn't sign up to be the president of the United States. He signed up to be a golfer. Whatever he does in his personal life, even if it's messed up, is really not our business to crucify him over. But we should definitely bring back shame. We should, because how normalized cheating has gotten is kind of sickening and disheartening.
Do better. Do better.
Moral of the story: do better, you guys. Do better. If you were an athlete, would you rather be known as a cheater in your relationship or a choker in your sport? What do you think is more shameful?
More shameful for sure, cheater. Like, okay, whatever, I choked in a game. Okay. At least I can redeem myself from that. The state of our society, if you cheat, you're never ever gonna let that. You're never gonna see the light of day. Someone's always gonna bring that up. I mean, think about Kobe. As great of an athlete he is, even when he died, some people were still writing about how he cheated on Vanessa. I'm like, dang, they cannot
Yeah.
let this one up. So for sure, call me a choker any day of the week. Like I'd rather take that heat than being labeled as a cheater.
I think because to me, who you are and your character as a person will always matter more than your sport. Because sports are amazing, and your career is so important, and being good at what you do is important. Like, you can't be out here choking every game, but who you are as a person matters more, and your character, and who you are as a man or as a woman. So cheating speaks more to a character flaw versus choking is just something that you're struggling with in a sport, which at the end of the day is just a game, and you can develop. You can
Right.
develop that and improve that. After you betray someone's trust, um, there
That's what
truly, I don't believe that there is a way to 100% come back from it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Even in people that have forgiven cheating and moved forward, there's still just a part of you or a part of your relationship that will never quite be the same. And it is sad to see. So I think that is a way bigger deal. Let's stop normalizing cheating 2025, please.
2025, please.
Okay, what about this one? Live in the shadow of a famous parent or prove yourself with no connections. What do you think would feel more satisfying?
For me, it's proving myself with no connections.
Mm.
That for sure would be more satisfying because it's like I got it out the mud. I didn't, this is no handouts. This is no connections whatsoever. I'm building a name for myself. I did this on my own through my own hard work. It's going to feel that just even now, it feels so much more rewarding for me when I'm putting in the work myself. I am
Mm-hmm.
not doing any shortcuts. I'm not trying to get an easy way out, but that's just the way that I maneuver, and that's just how I've always, went through my own career or personal journey, even through school, and now it's that much more of a better feeling when I can say, oh, I did this, and not necessarily on my own, like I'm going to, do it the right way at least, but knowing that I can look back on my journey and say, okay, from point A to Z, I really was out here thugging it.
I agree. Being self made definitely is respectable and comes with more pride. However, I think one of the biggest things about when you're self made and a big achievement that you would probably want as someone who's self made if you do have children is like a goal is to make, you know, you don't want your children to have to suffer or struggle in the ways that you did. Like, you worked so hard to get to where you're at so that their lives could be easier. Even for me, on a scale of like I'm Indian, so my grandparents were immigrants and my mom was an immigrant as well. And they came here to America so that my life could be different, could be easier, and they could have different access to things that they wouldn't have had access to back in India. And so it's just funny though, because when you start to reap those benefits of all the work that they did, everyone's like, well, you have it so easy. And it's like, well, wasn't that the goal? The goal mission accomplished then. I want to be able to help my family and my this and my that. I think um, when it comes to in the athletic sense, a lot of times it just comes with that added pressure now of people either expecting you to be the next big thing or having something negative to say regardless, because of the weight of that last name, the weight of who your family is and where you come from. There's going to be hype and high expectations on you, and I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse or kind of both. I think it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I'd agree. Definitely both a blessing and a curse. I mean, when you think about it, Bronny James, we've had this whole discussion throughout sports media and even Arch Manning, but those are two sons, second generation of stars, like absolute stars and icons within the sports realm. There's no doubt they're facing that pressure. I mean, I was recently even watching a Stephen Curry interview, and he was referring to his dad. Obviously, his dad, Del Curry, played in the league, and he said that the preconceived notion was that this was what it is. Playing basketball, playing in the NBA is what I, Stephen Curry, am supposed to be doing. It was essentially a paved way because my dad played. But on the other side of that coin, he said it was not as seamless as a journey. I had to continuously prove myself over and over. So Stephen Curry, another one of the greats within our generation, is saying that he felt the pressure of that and the fact that he had to prove himself, even though his dad may or may have not paved the way from him. Many people might think, oh, for someone like Stephen Curry, it's easy, but they do carry that chip on their shoulder, and it's a lot to. I mean, I had a conversation with my dad and my brother. I was like, I would not want to be a son of a former player. Think about it, like Klay Thompson, his dad played in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Just mentioned Steph, and now we have the younger generations of the Bronnies, of Carmelo Anthony's son, Cayenne. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they have that's a lot. Like if I always have to constantly hear like my dad, my dad, my dad, like that's gonna give me a lot of burnout and a lot of stress. I don't know about you.
That's true. It's an added pressure and a unique struggle, but um, a struggle nonetheless. I think it kind of goes back into the parenting. I'm sure these fathers or mothers or will tell them like you do what you want to do. Like we love you
Yeah.
regardless, but again, all of that outside noise, it's not realistic to think that it still won't get to your heads. And even for people that aren't nepo babies per se, but just like superstar athletes, coming out of college, having their names buzzing, 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 and there's all of these huge expectations for them to be the next big thing when they go pro. And just that pressure to live up to that hype, like those who did and those who didn't. Like is it fair for us to hype up like superstars that still haven't had that time to develop and adjust before we are already expecting them to be, you know, just the star of their new teams.
And I think that's a big reason why we hype them up in college and then they do get to the league and it's like wow they were kind of a bust or they didn't live up to the hype. Well, that's
Yeah.
because we put them on a pedestal and we placed all these expectations upon them that they didn't ask for. They're just out there trying to hoop. They're just out there trying to ball. And yes, they may be at the top of their class or what have you, but it's on them to perform in a way where then once they get to that next level, we can make a better assessment, right? But we're kind of jumping the gun. And we're
Yeah.
seeing them in college, and it's like, oh, they're
Mhm.
projected. They're going to be the next LeBron James. They're going to be, the next, the top of their class. And then they don't. And it's like, well, we kind of, we're raising the bar a little too high for them. And all these comparisons and just the constant scrutiny.
Well,
That's
they're also still just rookies. When someone gets drafted and it's their first year, even if they were a stud in college, you need time to adjust to a new culture. And you're going up against the top of the top athletes now in the world, in the nation. And it's a whole different way. Like some people, okay, LeBron James was able to just get in there at 18 and ball out. That's an exception. That's not the typical rule. The typical rule is that you need time to develop, to adjust to playing in a different league on a different team, and to like improve over time. But because we have those stories of people like Pat Mahomes who just came in their first year and killed it, it's like we hype everything up to be that same thing, which I think is just a lot of pressure for anybody.
I think that offers a bigger discussion of how we need to normalize development.
Yeah.
We, even as you talked about, as a student, the people and the person, the student we are as a freshman is completely different than the student or person we are at the end of those 4 years, because we develop our skills, we develop our habits, we become better people.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm not going
I had to develop. Well,
to right.
shoot.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you're not just gonna hop in the dorm first week on campus, first week in class, and then the next week, boom, you're a completely different and
Yeah.
polished person. That doesn't work like
You
that.
just
That's why,
know everything. Like,
right.
and we learn from mistakes. Athletics is no different from life in the sense of you learn your best lessons from the mistakes that you make. So when an athlete messes up and they're getting crucified for a mistake, when's the last time you made a mistake and had to learn from it? Just because it wasn't in an arena with thousands of eyes on you doesn't mean that they're any different. We're all people and we're all learning and we're all developing. And those mess ups and those moments are crucial to development. It's the only way that you can truly get better and learn. So that's why I just don't understand why people are so quick to get mad. Like these are still just people that are learning, that are young, especially when they're coming fresh out of college, adjusting to their new reality. So, please, in life sometimes we're expected to be great before we even prove ourselves, and I think that that's true for anyone in any field. Or even the pressure, even if outside people aren't putting pressure on you to be great right away, we do. I know I do. I put pressure on myself to think I have to be great and perfect all the time.
And so I think the thing that you can take away from that is just giving yourself and giving others grace. That's a big thing that I've had to learn through it all, through my own journey, and obviously for athletes and seeing the public scrutiny that they face and they endure. It's all about give these athletes and then give yourself a little grace, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to survive. So,
Yeah. And pleasing everyone is impossible. I think that's really helped me as I've gotten older, realizing that it doesn't matter who you are, pleasing everyone is impossible. And so we shouldn't look to, you know. It's really just how you feel about yourself and your journey. Everything else is just noise. Truly, just noise. So, if you've been watching March Madness, speaking of not being able to please everyone, they started airing anti bullying ads in between the games during commercial. And that really got me thinking. Because basically, what these ads were doing was the NCAA was trying to encourage people to stop harassing and DMing and bullying athletes online if they lose or mess up their parlay. Usually it's mad sports bettors that have lost their bets are going online and harassing these athletes after the games. And it's gotten so bad and so severe to the point that the NCAA is now doing awareness commercials in between, literally between March Madness. Um, and that is just so crazy to me. The sports betting thing is such a boom, and I don't know, it's just so problematic and hypocritical to me that so many platforms and companies have now made their own sports betting sites and platforms and are encouraging gambling and betting, but in the same breath your athletes are getting berated daily because of how bad it's gotten, and gambling can be very toxic. So this whole thing is kind of becoming a problem. It's so accessible now.
It is, which I didn't. The fact that there are commercials now, I didn't catch that, but
There's campaigns. There's literal campaigns.
it's getting out of hand. But I feel like because it wasn't legalized for a good amount of time for a reason, and now over 30 states they have legalized sports betting, either in person, online, like you were talking about, with different apps. That's why it's so accessible because
Whenever
little
there's a
me,
position for money to be made, they're going to make it,
but
even if it's morally wrong.
right,
In
but
a
that's the
lot of
thing.
ways, it is. I mean, gambling has ruined a lot of people's lives. A lot of people's. And then also, on the athlete side, they're dealing with all of this harassment. So where do we draw the line, or how do we even solve this issue with betting? Because I feel like whenever money is involved, no one cares as long as people are making money. Money kind
Hmm.
of ruins the game in a sense.
Yeah, with anything that generates revenue, I feel like there's always going to be underlying issues across the board, especially when it comes to people, when it comes to businesses. And when you hear those stories about athletes having to face the repercussions of other people's dealings, other people's issues when it comes to betting, like their athletes are now more susceptible and under more pressure than ever because people are betting on their individual performances. A missed free throw, a bad play can result in, just like that, can result in an angry bettor criticizing, harassing, and they don't deserve that. Like, not only can it take a toll on their mental health, but in my opinion, it's like they're being treated as a statistic rather than a person because the person on the other side watching the game is just looking for, how many free throws, their field goal percentage, things of that nature. And so when an athlete kind of has to take the heat on all levels, on all fronts, does really make you think about, damn, what are these athletes? How are they taking it? How are they internalizing all of this pressure when it comes to something as simple as sports betting when they don't necessarily have a say in anything?
Well, but they do have a say sometimes, illegally so, because